Hey, good morning. Welcome to your first Sunday of May. You made it through April, and I want to say that without fanfare, because the work you did this month wasn't the kind that gets fanfare. It wasn't a launch or a pivot or a declaration. It was 4 weeks of sitting with really uncomfortable things rather than filing them away for later. And that doesn't look might not necessarily look dramatic from the outside, but from the inside, it costs something real, right? April asked for the real version, the actual source document, not the one you shared on LinkedIn, the genuine chapter work. And that is the one that you had to look at your own story, that you've been carrying around for years instead of looking past it. It's a present tense reframe. And that one initially kind of felt slightly wrong, right? But is exactly how you know you're doing something right when it feels a little bit wrong to have to revisit. So, most reinvention content doesn't ask for any of that, right? It asks for inspiration and motivation and vision, right? Which is fine for about a week, and then it produces nothing really structural. So, you did the uncomfortable version, and this morning is the integration of it. So, this week's episode is about visibility, and that's what we talked about in if you listen to the podcast or watched or read Spark. And it was why the new identity can't fully consolidate in private, right? And why social confirmation is a necessary part of the mechanism. It's not really optional, right? How we start our Sunday sets the tone for our entire week. So, welcome to the Sunday Morning Club, the show dedicated to intentional living and personal growth. I'm Faye Chappell, and on behalf of all of us here at Elevated Living, I invite you to take this time for yourself to find your center and fill up your cup. I'm so glad you're here. We know who we are, partly through how other people see and respond to us. So the new identity needs to be seen. It needs to be real. It needs the external world to actually see it. We need to land in the external world. So this morning, through some breath work and prompts, we're going to get clear about what specifically it means for you to get out there. What visibility, what could be your visibility move? Who the version is that takes those next steps into May, right? And why that you want to declare, this is it. This is the new month. I'm ready to go. So you came all the way here. And it's not right now who you're sitting with in front of me now is not the version of perhaps April that you wish you'd had done, right? It's the one that you actually recognize that it was you. So let's begin. Okay. So I want you to find your position, first of all, and I want you to sit real comfortable. One long breath in and a long release out. You're on the threshold. You're not dramatically on it, but you're actually on it because something is ending and something new is beginning. And you're kind of in that in between phase, right? So I want you to scan your body, not the curated version, but I want you to scan what's actually there. We've done this before. So is there a tiredness? Is there a satisfaction? Is there unfinished business? Is there a small little flicker of I'm ready? Or is it everything at once? It doesn't matter. You don't have to define it. I just want you to, again, feel what your body feels like. And now I want you to bring attention to the space between your shoulder blades, okay? A lot of people carry the weight of that sustained effort because April was 4 weeks again of real work. So I want you to let yourself acknowledge it, the weight of it, the value of it before you put it down, basically. And I want you to bring attention to your chest and ask, without forcing, is there a sense of readiness? Is there a faint little signal of what it might be like to step into May as someone slightly different than the person who started in April? And I don't want you to fake it. I don't want you to manufacture it. But if it's there even faintly, let yourself feel it because that's the new chapter that's knocking at your door, right? It's not quite begun, but it is present. So We've crossed one more month, one new one to beginning. So let's take a breath and breathe through the transition, okay? So we moved through 3 different breath patterns this month. We did box breathing for the regulation, right? And we did the 4, 7, 8 for that depth and the emotional access, right? And we did that coherent breathing, right? For the grief and the processing of capacity, right? And each one was chosen for what the week needed. So for this threshold Sunday, the one that closes one arc and opens the next, we need something a little bit different. It's kind of like a breath of expansion, of arrival, of the nervous system signaling, I am here, I have capacity, and I'm ready for whatever comes next. So we're going to do expansion breath, and it's 5 counts in, it's 8 counts out without any holds, okay? That extended exhale, it activates that rest and digest state, but with kind of a readiness rather than a withdrawal, right? So regulated alertness, you're calm, you're present, you're ready for that threshold, okay? So you can do this as long as you want. You can do it for 2 or 3 minutes, and you can do it for 10 minutes, whatever feels right for you. If you feel that you should be continually doing this breath work for the next 20 minutes, then stop and do it. But let's try it, okay? We're going to breathe in for 5 counts, out for 8. We're going to be slow and continuous, but no pauses, okay? And if the mind wanders, no problem. I want you to just come back to the count, okay? The returning is the practice, not preventing the wandering. It's the return. That's the practice, right? So you do this enough times, you're going to slowly notice a shift. It's a quality of like spaciousness. And you'll feel slightly more present, maybe a little less burdened. And that's the state that prompts are really designed to meet, right? Those writing that we're going to do in a minute. So I want you to stay in it until you feel like it's complete. And then I want you to move directly to our journaling prompts, which is coming next. So I just want you to do it a couple of times with me. So remember, what are we doing? We're breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Continue the pattern as long as you want. Stop the recording if you're watching this after the live. Continue as much as you need to until you feel that spaciousness and that calm and that you're ready to go. So we're going to move into the journaling, and I want you to write without stopping to edit, okay? The prompt is the door. The prompt is the question, right? And once you're through it, I want you to write what's actually there. Don't take too long, a couple minutes per prompt, right? The goal isn't to finish an essay. It's just to write down what you honestly are thinking. So here's your prompt number 1. Grab your paper, grab your pencil, your pen, or however you're writing, and we're going to do a little bit of an honest April inventory, okay? So what actually happened in April? Not the curated version, the real one. What did you do? What did you avoid? What surprised you? What was harder than you expected? What landed, even if you didn't quite expect it to? Think about that. It's not a performance review. There is no grading. This is an honest inventory because it is more useful than the aspirational one because it's what you actually can build on. So if you avoided something, then write it down, don't ignore it. If you maybe did less than you intended to do, write it down. That one's usually a big one, even for me. If something landed unexpectedly, write that down too. All of it counts. You are just doing what happened. None of it disqualifies you from continuing in May. So please stop, write what you're thinking. What happened in April? Prompt 2. Who is stepping into May? Who's the version of you stepping into May? Not the one you're hoping to become, but who is already here after April's work. What do you know that that person who started in April didn't know? What have you put down? What are you carrying differently? And remember, it's present tense. I am someone who, not I want to be, okay? The person stepping into May is already real, right? So I want you to write that down as they're here because they are. You are here. So, who is it? Who is coming into May on the next phase of our journey? Prompt number 3, the visibility move. So we know that we need to make this real. We talked about it. We need to have the external world understand what we're doing. So what is the one specific visibility move for this week? Not the whole strategy, just one specific move. One conversation, one piece of content, one introduction that's done a little differently, one piece of maybe written self-description that's updated, maybe your LinkedIn. What is it? With whom? When? And I want you to be specific. Not I'm going to be more visible. That's not an action, right? I'm updating my LinkedIn headline on Tuesday and I'm not changing it back. That's action. How about I'm going to describe my current work to a specific person on Thursday without talking about the old prefix that I used to carry, right? Specificity is what makes it real. Vague intentions do not produce change. Specific commitments begin to produce the change. What are you going to do? One thing. What are you going to do? Prompt number 4. We're going to write a little letter from the end of May, basically. So what I wanted to do is I want you to write a short letter from yourself at the end of May to yourself right now. Get it? What happened? What happened in May? What did you build? What did you say yes to that the previous version of you would never have done? What does the chapter really feel like from there, right? This is kind of like perspective memory. It's the brain's ability to form future states, right? And use them to influence your current behavior. So I want you to write it as if May has already happened. Specific, credible, not fantasy. It's the version that's achievable if you actually do the work. Reach, there is a reach, but it doesn't feel implausible. It feels like you can make it. So this time, please stop the recording and spend a few minutes and continue to write the letter to yourself. Okay, prompt 5. This is the May declaration. So I want you to write the present tense declaration of who is showing up in May. 1 or 2 sentences. I am. It's a version that's slightly larger than your automatic self-description, the one that feels like it's a reach, but it's an accurate one, right? I want you to write it slightly larger than comfortable, right? The size discomfort is data. So it's evidence of how long you've been underselling, right? And how that's been the default. So I want you to read it back silently, and I want you to notice where it pulls, okay? Because that pull is exactly where the declaration needs to be. The declaration is a neural vote. It goes last because it has everything that came before it to build on, right? Go ahead and write it. And when you're finished, you put the pen down, you take a breath, and you realize that you just declared May. The brain doesn't distinguish between a declaration that's written in a journal and the one that's announced from a stage. The encoding is the language and the intention, not the audience side. So you have a declaration. You can go live it right now, right? You can live it. You want to embody that cognition research, right? Because any of that research shows that physical objects can function really as retrieval triggers for specific states, like when those objects are deliberately paired with those states. So bear with me. It's the same principle as a specific song takes you straight back to a specific summer, right? The brain forms associations, and we're doing it intentionally. It's not crystals or magical thinking, it's conditioning. It's the smart use of how the brain actually works. So I remember one song that whenever it comes on, I remember my youngest and I jumping on the bed and dancing and singing every time it came on. I remember the summer. I remember how old he was. It just immediately sends me to that space. So I want you to choose something small and physical that's already in your life, not something you have to buy. Maybe it's a ring or a pen or a stone or something already in your daily landscape, right? And I want you to hold it now while you're still in this space, this ritual created space, right? That regulated nervous system that you are here with the 5 prompts you did, the declaration. I want you to hold that object. So it might be, I know, a pen or a pair of glasses. And I want you to hold the object and say, silently or out loud, that say the declaration that you wrote from prompt 5 and say it to the object, okay? It sounds really weird, but do it anyway, because this time, every time you encounter that object, when you might put on the ring or pick up the pen or pick up your glasses, or you see the stone on your desk, let it return you briefly to that declaration that you said out loud, right? Just, this is who I am right now in May, in this new chapter. It's small, it's repeatable, it's real. It's the same way in feng shui terms. Sometimes we put symbolic things in rooms. It's not because they're going to make a difference, is our intention goes there. So when we see that symbolic item, we know how we've chosen to think about it when we see it. Does that make sense? So I really want you to focus on something that you see every day and associate it with your declaration. You see it, you say that declaration. I am X. Okay? So April is complete. There was 4 Sundays, there was 4 honest mornings, there was 4 weeks of the kind of attention that most of your life actively really discourages, right? Because the structures around you are optimized for productivity, and this isn't that. It's something slower and more fundamental and ultimately way more important, because reinvention, again, is not a revelation. It's not a morning where you wake up and everything is different and the story is finally, cleanly yours the way you want. It's this. It's 4 weeks of small, specific, honest work. It's a journal with more truth in it than it has ever had in it before, right? And it's a language inventory that made some automatic patterns visible that maybe you didn't notice before, right? It was a chapter that had a kind of a completion written for it, even if the grief wasn't necessarily entirely finished. You have the declaration that's slightly bigger than what you used to say. And that's what reinvention looks like from the inside. It's not dramatic, it's structural, it's cumulative. And May builds on it, not from the scratch, from here, right now, what we've done for the last 4 weeks. So take whatever time you need to come back to the room, right? And recognize what you've been doing, right? So this week, to reinforce this, you might want to go to LinkedIn and read the Spark newsletter, or you might want to check out the Substack, because everything builds directly on everything that April found. So wherever you want to join me, I want you really to think about joining there for sure. So thank you for April. This community is the most honest room I know of. You're really what makes it that. So I want you to go have your Sunday, go have your May, come back next week. We're going to talk about meeting your future self. So I know we didn't do as much meditation here, not as much breath work. However, we're setting ourselves up to do something really fabulous in the weeks ahead. So please come back. I can't wait to see you next week. And don't forget to share this with your friends. Please like, subscribe, do everything you need. Send it to somebody who actually needs it. And with that, our time together comes to a close. Thank you for showing up for yourself today. Take that feeling of this space with you and let it guide your actions and reactions this week. I'm Faye Chappell. On behalf of everyone here at Elevated Living, I'm wishing you a week of profound peace and clarity. This episode was produced by the City Media Group.